What's up? Welcome back to another episode of Demons and Gentlemen. As always, your host, TattedAlpha. To my right, your left,
We got Greg.
Greg. And in the middle,
Just
special guest, first guest on the episodes, Venus.
Beanie Baby.
Little bad dog.
Little bad dog.
So, updates for you guys. We have now officially gone live on Apple Podcasts as well. So you got YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts for you guys to tune in. Apple Podcasts don't have video, it's just audio. Spotify, obviously, you can do both. So some updates for you there. We also started a little Facebook page and whatnot, trying to reach you at all the levels. TikTok, Instagram may be in the works, we'll see. But stay tuned. Anyways, this week's episode is the Gentleman's Grimoire. Now, Grimoire has a pretty direct and straightforward definition for the most part, but we're going to play on it a little bit because that's what we do here. We make our own rules because fuck everything else.
That's right. We will stay doing exactly what we want to do.
Yeah, well,
that's the only way.
Fuck everyone else's agenda. We're on our own little world over here. Obviously. Well, this is my man cave world, but, we're in our own world. Piss off or piss on, as Greg likes to say.
Exactly. No. So, again, we are in Dakota Studio. Studio update for me, there is none. It's under construction, which means
you know what else is under construction?
There's nothing happening. I need the space to build the studio, again, just due to okay, Venus. Just due to some unfortunate circumstances and some other things, I am in a different living situation. However, once I get settled, I'll have a space. I'll be working on building a studio, and we'll actually have 2 studios and multiple different styles and themes and theatrics in all of our episodes and whatnot. But for now, we are recording a lot.
We are recording a lot
in Dakota Studio.
And I'm sure Greg can attest to this. Almost every time he comes to visit, since we don't live anywhere close together, every time he comes to visit, there's something new that I've done to the studio. So we have new lights now. I've set up some new lights. They're actually mounted up in the ceilings and shit. So, we're making changes. We're trying to up the production class for you guys. So if you don't like it, then I don't care.
Yeah.
Anyways, Gentleman's Grimoire.
That's right. Well, before we really dive into the episode, I wanna say something. Megan, Danielle, you know what you did. You know who you are. These are high waters.
These aren't spirit fingers.
These. No, these pants shrunk on me a bit, but I love them, and you're gonna have to get over it. Quit picking on my damn jeans. Anyways.
They're not going to stop picking on you, though.
I know that.
You're the butt of every joke.
I know. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. No, spellbook is what I know a grimoire to be, right?
Yep. TV and movies, I think, have kind of depicted naturally that your thought process be a spellbook in a sense, some form or fashion.
Oh, for sure. And, with that, we're going to put our own little spin on it today. We're going to be talking about basically a demon and gentleman's guide to success, what our spell book, quote unquote, I guess, playbook would be.
Grimoire.
For, lifestyle, culture, etc. And we'll just dive into that a little bit for everybody today.
Yeah, so I think just to kind of, make it a little easier for some of you is it's your DG declassified school survival guide. I had to make sure I didn't hit copyright there and not say the first part like I wanted to and bring back the nostalgia of it, but
it took me a minute to actually
remember what I was talking about.
Yeah, it took me a second.
I didn't want to get a copyright strike on that one, but our school survival guide of how to be a gentleman and fucking roll those demons. Don't read my shirt. My demons are not winning today. They might have won when I woke up.
What does your shirt say, anyways?
Made in hello, minus a letter. Yeah.
Which one?
The girlfriend does not love this shirt. She despises this shirt.
Who?
The girlfriend.
Oh, does she not?
She does not like this shirt. No, it's really big on the back. It's great to wear
when
I'm on a motorcycle.
Yeah, I saw it, but I didn't read it. I just saw the letters.
I'm no shame.
Oh, well.
Like me or don't like me, I'm not here to please everybody. Can barely please myself most days.
Oh, come on.
High expectations.
Don't tee me up
Look,
like this.
getting
It's
into
too early in the episode for you to tee me up this way.
Getting into the gentleman's grimoire, you gotta have high expectations for yourself. I think that's point number one I'm gonna make for mine. Getting in your doggy bed.
Oh, that's a good girl.
You're just a bad dog.
Good
Rule number
dog.
one: high expectations for yourself. Reason being, learned a lot of lessons the hard way. Most men and most of us, even women, have, and I think having a higher set of expectations and standards for yourself can do several things. One, it pushes you to always want to do more. It keeps you, the checks and balances of making sure that you're doing what you need to do and not letting the things that you're putting on the back burner fall to the wayside. So, you're following a process and a standardized process of what needs to be done and taken care of. But it also just, allows you that mental space and thought process to be like, okay, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. I could do a little bit more here and put a little bit more effort here. Just to hold yourself accountable, I think is probably the way I should just phrase that. And
Sure.
high expectations are not necessarily a bad thing. They can be, but I would say more often than not, having high expectations for the most part, is just you value your work ethic, you value your mental state.
Yeah, so I think three things that really like flow together there that all kind of coincide, and it's really important that we identify the three is expectations, standards, and values. Those three things all kind of operate together, but they all are very different, I would say, in terms of kind of what falls underneath them. But I would say the values and your standards are what set your expectations, if that makes sense. I mean, that's at least kind of how I perceive it. And we can dive more into it about, what our strategies are and, how we implement them into our day-to-day here in a minute. But
I think a good little point to make with that is those the expectations and everything, your overall substance, your overall thought, and your overall planning and everything can change. I mean, if we take you, for example, without going into too much detail and everything, but you've had to pivot a lot here in the latter months as to, your expectations for yourself and what your new routine's going to be and, how all that, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, and it's okay that routines get shaken up. It's okay that you have to change and pivot on your expectations and your goals and restructure. I think we should look at it more as it's us restructuring for what makes sense in that present moment in time, and then what that's going to look like moving forward.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I would say even my day-to-day right now, where I was versus where I am now, and I do apologize for the vagueness. It's not that I'm intentionally being vague. It's simply just to protect my peace, I would say, with this, to dive into some of the topics. But
it's clickbait to get you guys coming back.
Yeah, maybe maybe a little bit, but no, there are some key details that I'm just going to be, vague around out of respect for just myself and others. But I'll put it to you like this. My new routine as a single person going through it from a long-term relationship has pivoted and adjusted.
You hear that, ladies? Single.
Yeah, sure. No, but anyways, those have adjusted, and basically like my financial, expectations have changed.
Really, all of it. I mean,
all of it. Just
new situation altogether.
Altogether.
Your routine's different.
For
your
sure.
Structure is different, and everything.
All of it.
Not that you didn't have the freedom and everything before to come down every other weekend or whatever it may have been, but obviously a lot more flexibility there. You can come this weekend, you can pivot.
Yeah.
I think it's just, we will only make that point and everything, and it just use him as an example because it's easy to talk about. It's relevant to both of us and whatnot, is just because I think it's easy, and it's more so human nature to kind of naturally think that when we have to restructure or things change in our life, that it's for, or it's in a negative light. It's viewed and thought of in a negative light. And sometimes, I think the biggest thing, and I try to tell, some of those close to me, is it's perspective can do a lot of good things for you if you're willing to, sit there and converse in your head and really think things from a few different angles and view it from a few different perspectives. It can do you a lot of good. It can help you to plan and process and execute a whole lot better than just, I'll figure it out. I always do. Been there, done that, but that's only going to work and do so much for so long.
Yeah. No, I mean, it definitely is. But no, out of curiosity, just sitting here talking about it, why do you think that people tend to focus on all of the negative things? Like when we connect after a while, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to just use an example. I'm not saying we do this, but like when people go through conflicts in their personal life and they go and catch up with a friend or they catch up with, a family member, why is it that they just tell them about all the bullshit that's going on in their life? That's typically the bad things. Why do you think that there's not a lot of time spent on the positive in your life?
I could give several different answers for that, funny, whatever, but I think just at face value, it's a sense of security, right? If I'm coming to you, I've got some personal shit or whatever that's been going on and whatnot, and I come to you, I would say 9.9 maybe times out of 10, the first things that will come out of my mouth that I bring up will probably be more of a negative light. That being said, the reason being, and that's also not to say that I won't sit there and harp on the positive aspects after the fact, but the reason being, I think, is more so, like I don't necessarily go to therapy. You do. So that aside as an irrelevant point at the moment, you to me are a sense of safe space and security for me to have open dialogue with no judgment, and I can also, in a sense, let out all the negative stuff first. I would think more so, and just from my thought process and opinion on it, I think it's more so like a sense of relief when you let out all of that negative stuff, because you hold that in more. Mm-hmm. More near and dear than you would the positive stuff, because the positive stuff, it doesn't weigh you down. It lifts you up, right? So the negative things you tend to harp on and focus on because you want things to change, you want things to get better, you're trying to figure it out, but you tend to want to lead with that stuff in a natural way because it almost feels like the weight has come off your shoulders. It's a little bit of a relief, and a little bit of that release kind of helps you to then change the tone and think about it like we just talked about from multiple perspectives, because you're so blinded and caught up by that negative that you can't really open up your thoughts and your heart to what you really need to be doing, what you really need to be putting your focus on and your energy into. That's at least my perspective. You may have a different opinion.
No, I do actually. And it's interesting just because, I think there's always a level of like balancing of the scales, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a time and place to talk about that. And what you said about, me being like a safe space for you without that judgment, that goes both ways. And I can talk to you, and I know I can talk to you about the bad stuff too. However, when it comes to relationships, a lot of people spend so much time on the negative and they don't talk about the positive. Like, when's the last time that, you turn to someone that you care about and be like, dude, I love you, right? Like that stuff actually carries more weight than we ever care to admit, because I think about those things about when you don't have it anymore. Those are the things that you turn to the quickest and say, oh, I wish I could just tell him this or tell her this, or I could tell them this, right? And like, I think about that. And then when it comes to the negative side, and this could be debated, I think, but it's a hot topic. I think people tend to talk about the negative piece because it's trendy to do so. And I also think that people love that attention. We're in a very dopamine-driven world, mm-hmm. and people want that reassurance, and they want that attention that reassurance brings to them. So instead of talking to people about the positive stuff
They want to feel relevant.
They want, exactly. So they push out all of this stuff that's like, oh, my life's so hard, or I'm struggling with this, or I'm struggling with that, so on and so forth, that people will tend to just push everything with negative undertones, or I would say pessimistic undertones, and it's just somebody make me feel better, rather than you taking the time to make yourself feel better.
Give me the attention, give me the energy.
That's right. And then, put the positivity out there. Like that is totally different than, someone who is having a bad day and just needs to vent, or someone who's had a repetitive issue and then they finally say, hey, can I talk to you about something? And then they like talk to you about it, and it's a harder conversation with negative things going on in it because it's impacting someone. And then at the same time, if that compounds and it's like day after day after day after day, that's when, to me, I'm like, what are we doing this for?
Yeah. I think obviously there's different levels and tiers to almost anything, right? I think in that regard, obviously if you're like going through some things that, are kind of piling up and adding on to the overall aspect of your life to where you feel you're in such a dark place, for one, we advise you to reach out to someone and get help, get advice,
That's right.
Whatever you need to do. Do not ever let yourself get that low. We've been there, sheltered ourselves. We won't go into it. Not this episode. You don't get the privilege of those yet.
No.
But
Zoloft is a hell of a drug.
I'm raw dogging everything, bro. Have been for years, since 1995. 95. I'm an old motherfucker. Anyways, back on topic.
Yeah.
I just wanted to pause for dramatic effect.
I was waiting on you. I was like, okay, what do you got for me?
I just wanted to pause for dramatic effect.
No, that's great. But no, again, dude, I love that space. But you were over there, kind of going through your monologue for a moment, and I was just sitting here. I was like, I'm going to ask him this question about that negative versus positive piece, just because I find that topic specifically to be so interesting.
Yeah. I think
because a lot of people, specifically people who are dating or in long-term relationships, like, they tend to just talk to their people closest to them about the negative piece.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bruh, or come on, girl, why are you talking to me about him? Like, it's one of them things, right, where it's like, I'm like, can you just talk about the stuff that makes you smile? But then on the flip side, right, why is it that when, people post stuff online, it's all the positive?
Yeah.
So it's, there's balance to everything, and it's just really interesting.
I think we'll save a lot of that for a different episode, because I think that should be like a whole negative versus positive. You think? I think we'll make an episode for that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Not to try and clickbait you guys, but some of these ideas come to us in the middle of this shit. We don't know what we're doing. We're just fucking here with microphones and cameras. I mean, get off our fucking backs.
We're just vibes. But no, let me ask you this. So we were talking, standards, values, expectations a few minutes ago. And, you're in a very serious relationship right now, and how things operate and whatnot. But we've been friends for a real long time. So I guess, like, over time, how have your, standards changed? And, like, what did you used to value versus what do you value now?
So I think for me, it's talking about the gentleman's grimoire and everything, and to answer your question or whatever, I think standards come in many different forms. I have standards for myself as an individual. I have standards for me and my relationship, and I also have standards for me and my friendships and me at work and everything. It's not just clear cut, hey, what are my standards? For me, I break it down and break it up into different things, and depending on, which bit of information you want me to give you, standards for myself probably be the easiest to answer first. They have changed, I'd say, it almost in a very significant way, but almost in a 180. I used to be, some of this might sound bad, so bear with me. I used to be very much a bend over backwards, kill myself, break my back, people pleaser for anyone and everyone that was around me. And I am not anymore, to a certain extent. Not everyone gets that piece of me anymore. Only a select few. Reason being, I learned the hard way that you only have so much to give. And you can give anything and everything and break your back and be the strong-willed person or whatever you tell yourself to do X, Y, and Z for A through Z people. But at some point, it's all going to catch up with you and it's all going to knock you down. And it's all going to come to a head and make you be like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that I am not willing to be there for my people. I don't want it to seem like I am not. I know phrasing and everything and perception, what we talk about, it can come across in a negative way because you want to focus on that first. It's more so I had just learned that there is a time, place, and space for everything.
Mm-hmm.
There is a time for me to give X amount of energy and effort into certain people and things, and there is a space for it and so on. But I would say that's probably the biggest change in that regard for what's a standard for me. Now, when it comes to my relationship and my friendships and things like that, that's where it varies a lot more because there's a lot more of a resistance, for lack of a better word,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not just me, my feelings and emotions. It's yours. It's the girlfriend's. It's the snoring box in the living room.
Not a box, dude.
Snoring box. He's in a box room, bruh.
Oh my God.
We're just trying to rage bait our friend in there on the couch.
Yeah.
No, it's different because what you may need from me is obviously going to be different than what he will need, and obviously what the girlfriend would
Mm-hmm.
need, and so on and so forth. And then obviously to take that a step further, depending on the day or week that you've had, is going to be completely different and stuff than them two as well. But also the flip side of that is whether you've had a great week or not. What if I've not had a great week, but you need X, Y, and Z from me? So then I have to put all that, not on the back burner, but I have to hold on to this for a minute to table it, to come back over here because you need X, Y, and Z from me, and you're my people. I got to be there for you. And it's not that this stuff isn't priority and this stuff isn't important to take care of, but this stuff can wait in terms of what's more attentive to my situation and my friendships and everything, because I would rather be able to be there for you in a moment's need and when it's more valuable to you than, oh no, man, it's just been a really tough week. It's just long couple days of work, whatever. I can't do this right now, because that's not very, friendship worthy. That's not very respectable on my part to be like, I just really don't feel like doing this. Now, don't get me wrong. There are days where that's the case.
To an extent,
sometimes it just hits you a little different.
I mean, it does, but like through that communication too. Like if you have one of those harder weeks, anyone can just say that, right? And they'd be like, "Hey, this week's been a harder week. I know you're going through some stuff. It's been a harder week for me. I don't know that I have the bandwidth to give the full version of myself," right? And see, those are the conversations that I think not many people have.
True.
Because how many times have we done it where we've sat in the same room and we didn't have everything to give, but we put our shit off and we did it anyways.
I think there's also a difference, because I think that some of those situations, it's okay, and I think even you and me have done it where it's like, hey, I can't really give you advice and be there for you, but what I can do is I can allow you the space to sit there and let it out, to kind of get it off your chest, what we talked about a little bit ago, to where you have that little bit of release, and then you can then start to open up and think about it from a different perspective. And I'll look at you and I'll be like, bruh, honestly, I am not in the right headspace to give you any advice or try and help you through this right now, but go ahead and lay it all on me. Give me a couple days or so to process it, and then I'll get back to you. And we've done that
a few
over
times,
over the years several times. And sometimes there's many different ways to go about how you handle anything.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it just comes with knowing yourself and how you react and respond to things, as well as in a situation like this, knowing how you are and how you react and respond. A lot of that, is where you find that value and that clarity in the situation, in
That's
the
right.
conversation, and the structure. I think that's another point actually that I wanted to make, not to change the subject. But
No, you good.
before I forget, structure is another spell that we need to talk about. How you structure your day, how you structure your thoughts, and how you structure, just how you handle things. I think that's probably the bigger of the three, is how you choose to handle any and everything. Because I know in our little friend group, every single one of us is completely fucking different in that regard in how we handle things, which is intriguing because we all spend so much time together. You would think that some of it would rub off on the other, but it's not. We're all stubborn in that regard.
Yeah, no, so it's a great point. I'll tell you, whenever I'm here for like weekends where I visit you guys, the way that my lifestyle is changes a complete 180. Because typically, like by certain times where maybe the three of you might get up or start getting active in the morning, I've already done worked out and had breakfast, and I'm ready to go. And that's even on a Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
And that's no slight at anybody. That's just typically how I would do it on a weekend, because Monday through Friday, I'm working out 5, 6 p.m. So like it shifts a little bit on the weekends. And then we have fun. We eat a little different. Maybe I'll have a drink or two here, or I'll let myself indulge a little more than I typically would. And I would say that's my balance too, though, right? It's that social aspect, and I let it, okay, if I want to, eat a whole damn charcuterie board to myself with a bunch of sweet treats on it, I'll do that. Board? That's right. But I mean, and I don't mind that. It's all fun and dandy, or fine and dandy, but that, it's just interesting. So that it's a great point, because we all do shit extremely different, and it is interesting to see it blend.
Well, it's different for me because I get up and I'm out the door usually, but by 5:15, 5:30 most days in the morning. So that's my Monday through Thursday, sometimes Friday. So typically I want to, I'm awake by 6:30, sometimes 7 in the morning. Like I have that natural alarm clock in my head where my body wakes up and I'm like, it's time to go to the bathroom at like 5 in the morning. And then I get up, I go lay back down. Sometimes I'm lucky and I can fall asleep for another 30 minutes to an hour. And then sometimes I wake up after that 30 minutes to an hour and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not moving. Dracula pose.
Yeah, just go back to bed.
I just lay there. I'll just lay there and let my body relax, because as soon as I get up, I'm nonstop. Like even today or whatever, despite the moods and stuff, this morning, got up, went to the gym, whatever, left, come back, showered, went to go do some stuff upstairs on the computer to edit and pay some bills. And then I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to go run to the store, took care of the truck, got my clothes washed. And then I was like, I went, walked around the Redneck Mall, Walmart.
Yes.
And, walked around there, and then I come back and I'm just create projects for myself. I didn't need to go and fuck. I just have to be doing something. Naturally, it's hard for me to just sit down.
Yeah. I don't mind sitting down on a Sunday and just chilling. I can literally sit and just do jack all day, but at the same time, I do try to make sure I move around. Like at a minimum each day, I try to hit 10K steps. Like that's one of my things that I do every day.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me. As part of my like standard practice and standardized motivation every day is like naturally, I guess it's more so just because of my job and what I'm conditioned to over the last, 15 years.
Yeah.
Is more than that, 18, 19 years. Ever since I was 16, I'm not doing the math. No, 15 is when I started working.
Yeah, that would be 15 years ago, bro.
15 years. Well, 15 is when I started legally working.
Got you. Yeah,
on paper.
I got you.
I've been working longer than before that.
Well, of course.
Child slave labor, aunts, uncles, grandparents, whatever. Go pick up them leaves.
Dude, I couldn't tell you how many like under the table jobs I had as a kid, but that's besides the point. I'm not gonna you know who you are. I'm not calling you out. But no, all of that stuff's interesting. So I know from, at least on my end, like from expectations, standards, values side, like my stuff's changed.
Well, so
exponentially.
Let's cut it off after, your recent life changes, right? So taking that out of the equation, let's just say since we've been friends for the last 14, 15 years, whatever, how would you say your changes have been in that regard?
And that, like,
for yourself,
for myself,
the
or
same question to me,
as it pertains to like me.
For yourself.
For myself?
Same question you just asked me, but take out the piece of you. Obviously, your changes have been more recent.
Yeah. No, so in general, I can tell you one right off the bat is, from a standard, point of view, one of the things was when I was younger, I was just after it, trying to get a count up that people shouldn't, want to get up. And I'll get vulnerable with everybody here for a little bit.
A lot of regrets.
A lot of, late teens, young 20s, I was after it. And then what's interesting now is that I'm going into my 30s, is, there are things, about myself that I do rather enjoy. Like, I think, in a room full of people, I can bounce around and communicate with people and generate laughter and talk with folks and just have a good time. And sometimes that is perceived as being flirtatious, which if it is to some people, great. If it's not, that's fine. I don't mind it. Since I was young, people have always said, "Oh, Greg, you can tend to be a little bit of a flirt." Okay, that's cool. When I was in my 20s, I used that to my advantage. But as I've gotten a little older, what I'll tell you, one of the biggest standards right now that I have for myself is that I'm more than that. And what I mean by that is, at that point in time, I had none. Anyone who was giving me attention, I was for it. It didn't matter who you were. I just was all about it, because I had a bunch of unprocessed stuff from my childhood that left me feeling like I just wanted to be wanted by people.
Yeah.
And so I went around just doing whatever to kind of fill that void. But now that I've gotten older, it's interesting, because I'm like, you know what? I don't want to just do shit with just anybody. I want to be intentional about who I spend my time with. And I need to be intentional about who gets to enjoy me in certain ways, whether emotionally or physically, you name it. And I look back on myself in reflection, and I'm like, man, you know what? I'm not going to say that I regret any of it and some of the shenanigans I did when I was younger. And at the same time, I will say that I'm just proud of being in this position that I'm at now, because I learned from it. I mean, and I'm continuing to learn from it. And I don't know. I think I just am happy for new chapters to try to, set a better example for my friends and my family and the people around me. And it's been a lot of changes, but that's one of the biggest ones, I would say, from a standards point of view, that have changed.
I think with what you said, I'm not going to say that I don't have regrets, because I do. I have several. But with those regrets have also brought a lot of lessons and a lot of growth for myself, a lot of which I've learned the hard way. I've learned most of everything the hard way, whether that be just because I'm stubborn or whatever the case. But with those regrets and with those lessons, I think we talk about perspective and everything, how I have perceived that is that's allowed me not only to grow into the version of myself that I am today, but talking about our Grimoire and spell books, it's restructured what spells are important, which ones I need to highlight at what times, and it has allowed me to really, dive into. That's right.
It sounds like you're talking values, because the values have restructured.
The values have restructured, and essentially that's what our Gentleman's Grimoire is. It's values. Yeah. It's core values and what's important to navigate everyday life at home, at work, and for yourself, by yourself, and with your partner, with your friends, with your coworkers, whatever the case may be. It's core values and what it takes to be prime A top tier example of yourself.
Yeah. So I mean, so let me ask you this, or maybe we can both do this. Like right now, in terms of structure and value in that space, what are the things, that you value right now?
Well,
Like on a day to day.
my top values every day, I think one would be, and these may sound a little strange, but I think the biggest, even though we don't necessarily like fully communicate a lot, but it's more so like a mental thing. Like, I see you post your little story up every day of it's Monday or it's Tuesday or it's almost Friday, whatever. That for me, that it's seeing that it's the little check-ins with the girlfriend or whatever. It's just like knowing my people are okay, like they're there, they're alive and well, kind of.
Yeah.
So then that's like, okay, they may have your shit going on or whatever. We're not having that check-in or whatnot.
Sure, yeah.
But knowing my people are alive and well is probably first thing that I look for every day. Mind you, I'm up before all you guys, so I'm waiting for all this shit. That's probably the biggest one. And then second would probably be, I'm alive and well. I wake up, get a little bit of time to get going and whatnot. I don't feel anything's off or whatever. I'm getting older, just things start to come up and,
Sure.
Overall I'm pretty healthy and stuff. So I'm alive and well in that regard. And then I think after that, it's just a matter of, the fact that we've had this conversation where my friend group and my circle used to be, it more than filled this whole room. And now it wouldn't even make a dent. I could fit everybody in my circle on this little tiny rug.
Yeah.
And
same.
That's all that I need. And that's all that I care to have, because I don't need a lot to fill into my cup anymore.
Yeah.
I used to have to. We talked about it a little bit ago with people feeding out into the social space with the negative light to try and seek validation or advice, whatever. I don't need that anymore. I don't do this shit or anything else or my TikToks or whatever for attention or validation or approval or to win a bunch of people over. I do it for me. I do it because it's fun. I enjoy it. And I think being able to do things for myself because I just can hold more weight and value than trying to be something that I wasn't for a whole lot of people and fit into a space that wasn't a space that I necessarily belonged in. That wasn't my space, that I didn't create,
Yeah, that makes sense.
So what about you?
No, I know for me specifically, one of the biggest things right now is security in terms of what I value. And what I mean by that is basically a secure mind, a secure heart, and a secure circle.
Yeah.
I put a lot of stock into that and making sure that, mind, body, and spirit is okay. And if I'm the best version of myself, or I'm waking up feeling like the best version of myself, then I can put myself into situations where I can make a positive impact on the people around me. And I'm not really going to be places anymore where I'm not wanted. If I'm not wanted anywhere, I'm going to pick up shop and I'm going to take my ass out the door, and people aren't going to hear from me. And
I'm just kidding.
But no, I just honestly, I'm tired of being around, dare I say, just insecure people. And I've gotten rid of the insecure people in my life. They got to go. Whether it's, you know what, I'm not even going to dive into it, but I'm over it. And those people have since been cut.
Yeah.
They're gone. And I'm just not doing it anymore. So for me, it's like, you know what? I know what I want, and I'm going to go for it. And security is actually one of the things that I value the most right now.
Yeah.
In terms of where I'm headed. But I also, sorry, damn, I bumped this wire talking with my hands too much. But no, I would say, the next one is, that time for yourself. Like that's something right now, and I don't really know what you call it. I'm just gonna say the word peace.
Yeah.
Is taking time each day to really set the tone and for yourself and whatever form, fashion that is. I know for me during the week, that 45 minutes in the morning when I first wake up is the 45 minutes of the day where my mind doesn't have to be stimulated by something. So I sit out and I'll get out on my patio. I'll stretch. I'll have my morning cocktail. And what I mean by that is just some version of water. I try a bunch of different shit all the time. This week it just so happens to be hydrogen water. Last week it was lemon water, and it'll continue to be some different version of something. And I like to soak up the sun. We're in the favorite time of the year right now, fall time. It's my favorite time of the year, so those cool mornings have been my favorite.
Wait, you wake up and there's sun?
Yeah.
Oh, that must be nice. I wake up and it's pitch black outside.
We know you install LEDs.
I love it. This is why it's my favorite time.
Yeah.
Because I wake up and it's Dracula witching hours. If you haven't seen The Witching Hour, go watch The Witching Hour.
He said it, but you were thinking it. Anyways, no, it's my favorite time of the year, so that's my 45 minutes where I can be outside, get some sun in my face, get some fresh air, walk a little bit, have some water.
Sun is in your face?
Huh? And then I am a coffee connoisseur, so I do make coffees at home. I'm ignoring you, if you haven't been able to tell. I'm ignoring all bullshit coming from that side of the room.
I don't give a shit.
That's fine.
I know I edit this shit that's going on TikTok. Sorry, guy. I think you've become the butt of all the clips.
Mm-hmm. Some would say I'm just funnier than you.
At least you know how to take a joke, I guess. Amongst other things.
Mind your business.
Your business is my business.
Is it?
Yeah, I already told everybody.
What was it that Kevin Hart said?
Mind your motherfucking business.
No,
bitch.
not that one.
Well, that's a good one too.
It is a good one, but it was the day that you signed up to be my best friend.
I don't remember signing shit.
It's your bullshit. It's my bullshit.
That's
and then
a lot
my
of bullshit.
Is your bullshit.
Well, there's a whole lot of bullshit in this room. This studio needs to be bigger to fit all our bullshit.
Yeah, the dimensions aren't.
The dimensions are all.
No, they're definitely not cutting it. But anyways,
so question I want to ask you, kind of little generic question, but somewhat to kind of help the people listening. Your 5 key things for your grimoire.
Mine?
Your gentleman's grimoire. What would be your 5 overall points? You don't have to get into the substance of them, and then I'll list my 5.
One thing that I would say that's important at this point in time is to learn how to handle things by yourself. And what I mean by that is I'm not telling anybody to have a lone wolf mentality, to not have a village or to have a group of people. What I'm saying is time and place. Know when to talk about your stuff. Some may call it a different type of wisdom, and things change over time. And I would say, not all of your battles are meant for everybody. Some are just meant for just you. Go through it. Especially if, you made a mistake, or maybe you didn't make a mistake. No matter what it is, set in it, lie in it, process it, grieve it, move on from it, and prioritize that. Because if you avoid that throughout your whole life, what you tend to do is pour into everyone else's cup but your own. And I know that all too well, because I spent many years pouring into everybody's cup but my own. So that's one. Well, let's just go bar for bar. That's my big one. I'm going to kick it over to you. You go, and then toss it back.
I think my first one would be self-admiration. Being able to sit there and wake up every day. It doesn't even necessarily have to be when you wake up, but at some point throughout the day, when you're going through your gentleman's grimoire, being able to look at yourself in the mirror or have that moment of reflection with yourself and being like, I admire how hard you work, or I admire, the the love that you've given, your significant other or friends today. Just some bit of self-admiration each day. It could be one little thing. It could be multiple times throughout the day, whatever. I think self-admiration is something that we don't necessarily do a lot. It just kind of tends to flow in the back of our mind, and we don't put a whole lot of thought of it in the forefront.
Yeah.
So self-admiration would be number one.
I got you. No, I will say the next one, for me, I would say is community, and I'm going to combine that with laughter and just a positive vibe. So all of those things can kind of float in the same space for my second one. When things are going good in your life, you want your community of people to know about it. And then when things aren't going so well in your life, people need a village to help you stay in high spirits and get through it. Laughter is a big piece of that for me. I do like to laugh and joke, around with my friends and have a really good time with, who my people are. And then I think that, community at this point in time is really important to acknowledge. What's also important is to acknowledge how community changes over time.
Yeah.
And I'm going to refer back to the box in the living room that you did earlier, but that's a new person, I would say, who's kind of in that community of mine. And it's been interesting. There are, to me, I know who my closest people are. And at the same time, there are, new people who come in, but you never know what's going to happen. So I'd say that's a big one.
What's funny about that is, as long as we've been friends, we have both seen each other in yours and mine separately and together as well. How you have had a huge friend group, I've had a huge friend group. I was a part of yours, you were a part of mine, and we kind of intermixed the two a little bit. And now both our circles are so small. So, changes can be made both individually and still make that work as a unit, and in friendships and relationships and things like that. Structure is a key factor to that. And I think my second one would be perception, just because, for me at least, that's my number two, is because I try to view and have a multiple angled viewpoint on everything, not just for understanding purposes, but more so to try and be better opinionated, or a better conversationalist, or a better listener, or a better advice giver, whatever the situation may be in that regards. Or even if it's for myself, since we're talking about the Gentleman's Grimoire, having multiple perspectives to be able to sit there and look at myself in the mirror and be like, this is how you need to react, this is how you need to respond, and this is how you need to move forward. I think perspective can sometimes, just be an afterthought and be like, oh man, I should have done this differently, or oh, I should have thought about it like this. And sometimes even with multiple perspectives and viewing it in a different light, sometimes you're still going to have those thoughts later on because your headspace is different. But if you, instead of doing what everybody does and responding right away, sometimes you don't need a response right away. You don't need to react right away. Sometimes you need to think about it. You need to view it from point A, point B, and point C, and then come to your conclusion and your course of action. So perspective would be my number two.
Yeah. I'd say, so on to number three, this one, I'm going to use a metaphor for this one a little bit. But I would say trim the fat. And for me, really what that means is all of the things that aren't doing you any good in your life anymore, get rid of it. Or do something to mitigate it and manage it better. So if, for example, if social media isn't playing a positive impact in your mind or your heart or your body anymore, you're feeling worse more than it's making you feel good, get rid of it. If the job that you go to every single day, you show up there, you come home, and you're in a foul mood every day, get rid of it. People. if you have friends in your life, or you're putting yourself in situations or around groups of people who just aren't understanding who you are and the standards of who you are anymore, get rid of them and trim the fat in your life. And that's really what I mean. And that can also apply to your habits. If you understand that you as a person go through cycles and you go through things and you experience certain things in your life and you struggle with them, what I mean by mitigate it and trim the fat is you might not get rid of all the fat. It might be impossible to do that, but you could at least get it down to 3%. And so, like me in particularly, there are certain habits that I struggle with, and I'm working every day to make them better. So trim it down and keep it moving.
I think my third one's actually could be argued as similar to yours, but my perspective is different, and that's balance. And that's obviously balance in all things. You have to have balance in order to, navigate and deal with, whatever comes your way, because sometimes those things may change, as we referenced earlier. So just having the balance and being able to lay everything out, deal with everything that's going on, and figure out what works, and like trying to balance my relationship with the girlfriend, and friendship with the snore box, and friendship with you, and then being able to go to work, and then have the time to do this, but also play the games with my brother. You got to have balance, and that's obviously the most common thought process for balance is being able to balance out everything that you have to do, but it's also being able to balance out your thoughts, balance out your own personal agenda for what your goals are, for what's important to you, what you need to achieve and take care of, and your physical health as well as your mental health, and being able to go and process your emotions and take some time for yourself, and not be so involved in the moment in a negative light, and have that balance and time and space for yourself. There's many different variations and things where we could reference what balance is, but you know what it is for you.
Right.
That would be my number 3. I don't necessarily know if I have a fifth one. I have one more. I don't know if I have a fifth one.
Yeah, I mean, the dialogue around these things are interesting, and just through talking about it, you might be able to come up with something.
Maybe. I do. I have one more. I've been sitting here the whole time we've talked and listed the first 3, 6. I still only have one more, but we'll see. What's your next one?
We'll see. No, me, so I would say being intentionally ambitious. Ambitious without, or being ambitious without, clarity, to me, just doesn't make sense. Like, you're ambitious for what? You got to know what you need to be ambitious about, or what you are ambitiously working for. So for me, it's that intentionality behind it. Like, who's going to get my time, energy, and effort? And like, what is going to get my time and energy and effort? So I would say, like, for this podcast, right? Like, this is something we've talked about doing for a long time. So right now, like, I'm extremely motivated to play my part and put in a really solid effort to make this a good experience for anyone who chooses to listen. Or, in my career, like, I want to be able to provide not only for myself, but for anyone who's around me. I want to help, do my part in making sure that I'm set up, so that way I don't, run into some sort of a financial struggle or anything like that. There's just things that, I choose to be intentional about, and I stay ambitious in those lanes. Like, something that I heard a long time ago, can't remember where I heard it, but it's a quote that always lingers in my mind. But it was, when you show up, like, as it pertains to work, I'll just use this as an example. A lot of people in the world work for other people's companies that they run. You're helping them live their dream, but you're not pursuing or living your own dreams. Now, if that is your dream, no harm, no foul, different strokes for different folks. However, like, there are things that maybe I want to do, so making some sacrifices in certain areas of my life to pursue those avenues, I'm all for it, and I'm going to do it. And here we are. That's what we're doing here. So that I think that intentionality behind it, and really I would say it's changed as I've gotten older. That's how I am today, not how I used to be. I used to, kind of just take shit as it came when I was younger. But now I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put myself in situations where, one, I'm wanted. Two, people who have taken their time out to support me and have prioritized spending time with me, I'm going to do it for them in return. So much so, you can call me petty or not, but people who haven't taken the time out this year to like spend time with me will not get a Christmas gift from me this year. And I'm serious about that. I actually like journaled about this the other day.
Oh,
I was like, it's like people, it's like, and that includes family, like family who hasn't taken any time to like connect with me this year. Bye.
Does that mean more gifts for me?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Appreciate y'all's fuck up. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, not sorry. More gifts for me. And I used to not like Christmas.
Reminds me of that movie. I can't remember which one it is. Maybe it's Talladega Nights. I could be wrong, but they go, yeah, 2 Christmases. Which
Yep,
movie is that? Is that Talladega Nights?
The little redheaded kid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, if I really wanted to sit here and try and come up with a fourth one, I could come up with a fourth one. But I think what I'm going to say for my fourth one, I'm going to keep both my fourth one and fifth one short and sweet.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth one being, we've all heard this, be okay with not being okay, but also be okay with just being okay. I could elaborate, but it's in its simplest form is all it needs to be said is be okay with not being okay. It's okay to not be okay. And then if things are just okay or even just even keel, that is also okay too. It doesn't need to be more. It doesn't need to be less. Just let it be what it is. Which goes into my last point. I know we said bar for bar, but I'm going into number 5.
Send it.
Last one being breathe. Take a moment and take a breath. Whatever the situation is, whether you're just okay or you're not okay or any of the other things, just breathe. Just take a moment, pause, press pause on life, and breathe.
That's right. I'm with that, and I actually like that a lot for people who struggle with panic attacks. If anybody out there struggles with them, take one in, hold for 5 to 7, and then slowly breathe out. Like, I think physiologically, it slows your heart rate down. So for anyone who struggles with panic attacks, just so you know, I myself struggle with them and have throughout my life. Just a little tip for y'all.
So, ironically, I don't think I've ever told anyone this. I don't have panic attacks. I would think, maybe I have a little bit of anxious feelings and things here and there. I wouldn't necessarily say that I have, like, anxiety or whatnot. But I actually do 2 different breathing exercises or whatever for a couple different things. Mm-hmm. One being, like, if I'm at work or I'm in a like high intense, cardio, whatever, like my heart rate's elevated and things like that. And I'm trying to, get it back down. I do a couple deep breaths and really focus on the breath in and the breath out and just slow in, slow out, whatever. And then there's also times where maybe something's weighing on me or it's bothering me mentally and I can feel like my blood pressure rising. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting a little, intense and on the inside or whatever. And to not necessarily keep from lashing out, but just, because I'm so in that moment and I'm like, I need to take a step back.
Yeah.
I breathe. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And I do it a lot. One other time, and this is probably the only other time I do it, is when I'm trying to go to sleep. Because I have such a hard time and have always had a hard time with my sleep, mm-hmm. is when I'm laying down in bed, I will really emphasize the slow in and slow out to try and slow my heart rate as slow as possible.
Yep.
Just to put myself into a comatose, relaxed state psychologically, tricking myself to think that I'm more tired than I am. So you don't necessarily just have to have panic attacks. Breath work can be
that's right.
a key factor
It's
for
a
a lot of
fact, yeah.
things.
Yeah, honestly, start your day with it too. Like so many people just do not take the time for it, and I think it's awesome.
Oh, I
Makes me
start my
feel
day
great.
with breath work every day. I wake up and I'm like, fuck, I got to go to work today.
Wasn't expecting that, so that's because we were out here.
Fuck, did win the lottery again. Yay me.
Yay me! I suck again.
Oh, yeah.
No,
What
but
are you sucking again? Is that sun that was in your face earlier?
it was Venus. Get the peanut butter, baby.
Leave my fucking dog alone with the peanut butter.
All right, don't call Pete on me. But anyways, no. My fifth one is honestly, it's gonna be cliche and a little trendy right now. But for those of you who have heard or know what the let them theory is, let them, and just in any circumstance or context out there, just let them. Happy, sad, negative, you name it, whatever category it may be, take that and apply to it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's an audio book. Go read the book. It's called The Let Them Theory. I don't even know who the author is. It's good. It's good material. Go listen to it. It's interesting, and applied, to my life right now, particularly in this changing of chapter in life. So.
Well, with all that being said, obviously, if we wanted to keep and continue listing the spells needed for a true gentleman's grimoire, we could. But that's the gist. That's the basis of it. Structure yours what's best for you. Those were just examples of what may help you if you are having a hard time yourself. And again, if you're having a hard time yourself, seek help. Get advice. Talk to someone. You're never alone. We've been there. We know what it feels like. We know the emotions and thoughts that you're having, but reach out. Let somebody know. Hey, if you don't want to reach out to anybody of them, drop comments down below. We'll listen. We'll be there because we have been there. With that being said, though, thank you guys for listening to another episode. More coming soon. Stay tuned. Check out, like, subscribe, follow, rate. Appreciate all you listening and subscribing and
That's right.
everything so far. We appreciate it. We're doing this for you, but also for us. So everything that you do helps us. Not necessarily pay for this stuff, but maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe one day. Stay spooky.